Hey everyone, welcome to Cerwin Vegas. Today I'm finally going to get going on my Cerwin Vega 211 restoration project. I've been staring at these speakers for months now. I got these for free a while ago. I've really been procrastinating on this project. I really want to get started on it, but at the same time I want to make sure I get everything sourced out and I want to make sure I get this right. This video, however, is going to be fairly short. I don't think I'm going to drag this one on too long. All I'm going to do in this one, I'm going to get started with the crossover network. Very simple crossover network on these. They're just a simple two-way speaker design with a potentiometer to adjust your high frequency. So it's just going to be cleaning that up, getting this looking, well, clean it up, clean up the potentiometer, make sure that when we get everything put back together, we're not going to have any static or crackling or any kind of distortion when we're adjusting it. I want to make sure that that signal is going to come through as clean as possible. But I am going to be recap it. So there's only one capacitor on here, so it's not really going to be too crazy. We're going to put some new wire on it. And I'm going to upgrade the speaker terminals, I believe. I'm not a big fan of these ones, so I want to upgrade those. And yeah, that's basically all I'm going to be doing in this one. But I'm super excited to finally start this project. So before I start tearing into these to recap these crossovers and fix them up, I figured I'd give you guys a listen first, because believe it or not, this woofer still works. It is not attached. The cone is not attached to the basket anywhere. And then somebody tried to spray foam it. But it's not I mean, it sounds like crap, don't get me wrong. But without the spray foam there, you wouldn't really get anything because the cone would just dangle there. Because the spray foam is there, you can see here, it actually somewhat holds the cone somewhat centered, so it still actually does produce music. Obviously, it's not going to sound very good, but it works. So I figured let you guys hear what they sound like. This tweeter does still work. Got a good working speaker, and aside from, well, you can't really see, but the holes are drilled in it. Anyways, I'm going to leave a link in the description for the first video I did on these. If you guys haven't seen that one, check it out. Let's put some music on and, wow, listen to these extremely abused Cerwin Vega 211's. Still work. Cerwin Vegas, can't kill them. Anyways, I'm gonna get the back off here to get the crossover out of this guy and get working on them crossovers. Okay, so like any time you're gonna pull a speaker apart to work on it or whatever you're gonna do, always make sure you pay attention to which wire goes where. Some models are wired backwards. So there are no markings on these. These are all just straight yellow wires. But this is a very simple crossover network, like I was saying. So it's pretty easy to see which are your positive leads and which are your negatives. So that I know this wire, and then you can see it goes to the woofer. This is the positive, and when I take a look inside, what have I got going on here? Yeah, when I take a look inside here, I've got a red dot, and that is my positive. So I know I've got positive to positive, negative to negative. For the tweeter actually comes off the potentiometer here, obviously for the adjustment for that. And that comes up to there, and I can see I got positive to positive, negative to negative. So let's pull all that out. Okay, here we go. Now they just have this crossover, they just have it kind of stapled to this piece of wood here. So, and then glued. But in my case, it wasn't on there very good. So I'm just gonna pry this off. Like so. And there we go. There, now that we got the crossovers out, this is the banana style plug terminals that I'm going to swap these out with. These vintage push-in style connections. So yeah, these are fairly nice. I found these locally at, it's called B&E Electronics in Saskatoon. I think they're about $5 each. So I got these, gonna try to throw those in. And also at B&E Electronics, this ERSI, I'm not even sure how you say it. Anyways, it is an audio capacitor. I've used them in the past with really, really good results. These are a 3.3 microfarad, 250 volt capacitor, which is a little different than what was in here. You can see these are a 3.5 microfarad and they're 150 volt capacitor, which is fine. The voltage doesn't have to be the same as long as it's the same or more than what you're replacing with. You don't want to replace with a lower voltage cap. So the closest for the value I was able to get was 3.3. So I doubt you would ever hear much of a difference. It's going to work just as fine. This is still going to be an upgrade. So they just they didn't offer a 3.5 microfarad cap for what I was looking for. So I had to drop a little bit. It's not going to make that huge of a difference. When I do these with a pair of speakers, it's always nice. I always do one, leave everything intact. I leave one intact and I start working on the other. So you know, this one is fairly simple, but some of them get a little complicated and you don't want to start tearing and ripping everything apart and then not knowing how it goes back together. But if you've got two of them, you can always use that one as a reference. So I am just going to start pulling these apart. Okay, so this is all I'm really replacing. This I'm just going to reattach, and the potentiometer I'm going to clean. So I'm replacing these terminals. So I'm just going to start by cutting this off. Remove that and do the same thing here. And pry this off like so. I'm not going to reuse this wire. I'm going to be putting new stuff in. So this garbage. Now I am going to want to clean this up a little bit. So I am going to end up, because I'm pulling all this apart, basically dismantling the entire thing, which isn't necessary. If you're just recapping crossover and leaving it as is, it would just be a matter of soldering in your new one, and it's that easy. But because I'm doing a little more to this, I'm basically disassembling the entire thing. Let's see how it goes. Very nice. Kind of what I was hoping. Like so. And we'll redo this. And then we'll cut this off too. There, but I am going to have to make those holes a little bit bigger. Just gonna drill these out. Hopefully this is gonna sit in there nice. There we go, just like that. Like so. Okay, well, got those drilled in. Wasn't too bad, a little bit of, just had to drill out those holes a bit. So they weren't quite wide enough, and it actually fits in there pretty good and still looks okay. I'm all right with that. Okay, so I went ahead and pre-cut all my wires. I'm going to be modernizing that as well, upgrading the wires to what are these, 16 or 18 gauge? Blue for the tweeter, red for the woofer, and then my two blacks for the negatives. So I tried and tried and tried. Could not for the life of me get this knob off. There's no set screw. It's not pushed on there. I pulled and pulled. I don't want to wreck nothing. So you won't be able to see it on camera. I can barely see it when I look in there. But there is a hole right in here, and that's where I want to get into to clean it up. And I'm going to use some deoxit. I'm just going to try to get it in there the best I can. So I kind of bent these tabs down. I'm going to try and see if I can get it in through here, and then maybe spray on the top. There is a kind of lip all the way along here, so hopefully some of that will sit on there and then kind of leak down into there. So I'm going to get some of that deoxit on there, and then I'm going to adjust it all the way side to side, all the way up and down, and just kind of work that stuff in there. And hopefully that's going to be enough to clean it up, where we're not going to have any kind of interference, any kind of static when we're adjusting this. But unfortunately, without wrecking anything, that's the best I'm going to be able to do for this. But let's see how it goes. Give it a shot. I'm just gonna, I can feel it's already, I can hear it. It's already loosening all the crud from 40 or 50 years worth of crap in there. There. I'm satisfied with that. If I get it all together and it's still, if it's not the greatest, I'll have to maybe try to hit it again or try to find a different way to get in there. But for now, I'm happy. Okay, well, I'm gonna use these terminals, these connections here, and this inductor, this wire here, it's gotta go to, this is the negative terminal. So this has gotta go there, and then both my black negative speaker leads are also gonna come off of here too. So that's all, I'm gonna get all that. I get this attached first, then I can put everything in there, crimp it a bit, and I'll solder it as well. But I'm going to use these connections, and then I'm also going to use one for this positive lead as well. That way, if these ever can be replaced, it's just as easy as taking that nut off and pulling those terminals out. I'm just gonna take the positive lead that's gonna go to the woofer and tie in off here somewhere. I guess I could have kind of done it there at the same time, but that's fine. I can wrap it around wherever, solder that in. And then it's just the positive lead from the tweeter that I got to solder to here. And then I believe, nope. This is the positive lead. The one in the middle is the positive lead that goes to the tweeter. And this one needs to be attached to the negative. So there you have it. Recapped and modernized crossover for Cerwin Vega 211. Nice banana plugs on the back. Have to straighten that a bit. That's gonna be a really nice upgrade. Obviously the biggest thing, new cap. We're gonna get nice crystal clean highs out of that tweeter. And we cleaned up the potentiometer on here, so no static. So this is good to go. One thing I'm going to mention, when you're doing a crossover such as this, or any of them really, after you're done and everything's soldered together, make sure none of these wires are touching each other. You want to make sure that this is only going to make contact where it has to at the end, and make sure that nothing can come in contact here. So the only thing that's a little bit loose on here is the positive lead that runs right here to the tweeter. It is just a little, that's just the potentiometer itself. These are solid because they're soldered to fixed components on the back. But yeah, you just want to make sure that none of these wires are going to cross while it's installed. So if you have to kind of grab and bend and move them where you need them. Other than that, it's ready to go, but a lot more work to do on the speakers. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait till we're all done to be able to hear the real difference. But that's gonna about do it for this video. So remember, Cerwin Vega, big or small, save them all.